this is Chef Dave and welcome back for some more quick tips from Chef Dave. I am in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and Vicky Bovey's very own kitchen. And I'm going to teach you how to make a roux. Now, there's a difference between a roux and a slurry. A roux is made with some type of fat and flour, and then you add your liquid, which could be milk for like a milk gravy, or your stock for a more of a savory gravy. And then a slurry is where you add water and cornstarch and mix that together, and that normally makes it more clear. So there are two differences. So we're actually going to be making a roux today. And there are different types of fats, but no matter whether I were to use this salad oil, or I was to use the butter, which is a saturated fat, or I was to use, which I'm going to be using, is the chicken drippings from a chicken roast that I did earlier in the day, which you can find that on chefdave.org on how to roast a chicken. You will actually see that there's some of the fat that I have retained, and I'm going to be using this for my roux. So let's get started on making the roux using the chicken fat. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just add this chicken fat right into the pan. See it starting to sizzle. And that's going to be enough to make about 3 to 4 cups of gravy. We're going to make sure that it's hot, ready to go. We're going to add enough flour, which to make a paste. But you want to make sure that it all soaks up all this fat that we just added here. Sauces and gravies are typically higher in calories just because they have so much flavor. And fat is flavor. And like I told you earlier, a tablespoon of fat is 110 calories. Because for every 1 gram of fat, that's 9 calories. So you can imagine where the calories come from. So if you're making your gravy, you want to make sure you use that it's savory and that it's good, but you don't just drink it up like it's water at the dinner table. Add a little more. And there's really not a science to this. You're really just looking to make sure that it has a nice, dry, but pasty look at the same time. And this is actually perfect. If you were to add a little bit too much flour and you found that it wasn't looking like this, it almost molds like Play-Doh when you're done with it. I'll show you with my plastic spatula. It's not a problem. All you would do is just add a little more fat to the pan, and then it would thin itself out some. And now what you want to do is you actually want to cook this roux out for about 30 seconds. That'll kind of help with the starchy taste of it. And I'm going to, while this is cooking, I'm going to go over here and just drain off some of this extra fat that I don't need. Okay, so now this is going to go on for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. We're now going to start adding the drippings from our chicken. Look at that caramelization. That all came from the bottom of our pan. Can't go wrong with that. Oh, this smells absolutely wonderful. And you're going to keep stirring it and see how it gets thicker. And that's how you're going to keep from getting lumps in this gravy. And we're going to go ahead and add more chicken stock that we basically purchased at the grocery store. And using our whisk, we're going to whisk this in, just like so. And you want to make sure this comes up to a complete simmer, because that's how thick you know it's going to be. And as it gets thicker, it's not a problem. We just add more and more stock until it gets to the consistency that you want. It's going to be a great pan gravy when it's all said and done here. Perfect. And I'm going to need a little more chicken stock, so I'm going to go right here to the fridge and grab it just a little bit more, because it hasn't come to. So as you see, it's coming to a simmer. It took about an extra minute and a half. So through the magic of video, we shortened it up for you. And it's too thick, so we're going to add some more chicken broth to it. You can add water if you wanted to, but I don't recommend it because I personally like the flavor from a chicken broth or a beef broth, depending on what my meat is going to be, versus just plain old water. And remember, sauces were invented in the medieval times because they didn't have refrigeration back in the day. And sometimes the meat would start to turn rancid. And so these sauciers, these sauces, these masters, chefs of sauces, would create these savory sauces to hide the rancidity of the meat as it was spoiling. And that's how sauces became so savory and succulent and wonderful. And that's also why they're so high in calories, so you got to be careful. So, this is looking and turning into an amazing pan gravy here. And there's a trick here I'm going to show you. You can use a wooden spoon, which I have one right here. And you're looking for a nappe consistency. And what that means is that it coats the spoon, but it still runs off the spoon, but it still remains coated. And we're getting there right now. It's coming to a nice simmer. Look at that. And there's no lumps, because we did exactly like we're supposed to. I'm going to grab this wooden spoon and watch how that pours off and how it still coats. See how it coats that spoon? And that is called a nappe consistency, where it is evenly displaced. So now we're going to use this pan gravy on our freshly roasted chicken, which you can check out on chefdave.org. Until next time, this is Chef Dave, and always remember to cook smart.